dear OISTAT friends, a warm welcome to our online World Congress. We've named it Reconnection, which covers our intention entirely. And as my term as president expires at this Congress, and it had already been preceded by 2 terms as member of the Executive Committee, this online World Congress will be my farewell to the leadership of OISTAT. This calls for some retrospection. I'll try to put some OISTAT matters in perspective, as is requested from a president during our quadrennial Congress. So please bear with me. Ever since OISTAT was founded, the world has undergone some disruptive occurrences. We've witnessed them, and some of us were part of them. Some for the better, sometimes for worse. If such radical events happen, we strive to be there for one another. And with OISTAT, within OISTAT, being in a global organization, we try to support OISTAT friends in difficult times and stay connected no matter what. It is one of OISTAT's greatest strengths to know that we have friends all over the world. Friends who look at things the way you yourself look at things. Friends who speak the same language, the language of theater and performance in its broadest sense, a language understood all over the world. That is a comforting feeling, one to cherish. Today we meet each other digitally. We were to meet face-to-face in person in Calgary at this very moment, but an unexpected pandemic has put an end to all plans. Very few people could see the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic coming, and initially we all encountered it with disbelief. It has thrown us back into a long period of sometimes serious confinement by quarantine, out of which we are now slowly emerging. So many plans were made in vain, initiatives cancelled, work evaporated. It has been, and still is, a difficult time for the arts. Was this period completely lost? For some plans, alas, that might be the case. We literally came to a standstill. The whole world found itself in the eye of the storm, with just the relentless efforts of healthcare workers happening as a major force. We took shelter from an unknown threat. As we slowly are getting out of the pandemic, this now sounds grotesque and all too dramatic, but at some point we all felt that feeling of loss of control. This is seriously not good. This situation drove many of us into introspection. What is the world going to? What am I running after? What is really important? Why do we follow the need to be part of the rat race of modern society? And then something beautiful happens. We shift into a resilient mode. It's in our nature. We cast away the graveness of what happened and we focused on the upside. Being thrown back on ourselves has given us a time slot to reconsider. We start to pave the way for a new future. This is not the end. We can overcome this. We can learn from what happened and turn it into something good. Every disadvantage holds the opportunity to be changed into an advantage. In spite of the negative effect the pandemic has had on all of us, it's also good to emphasize the opportunities it has brought. Moreover, we must not let the momentum slip away. Coming January, it will be 2 years since I was traveling for OISTAT for the last time to Helsinki and Stockholm. Little did I know this was to be the last time for actually visiting an OISTAT meeting in person. After years of traveling to OISTAT events almost once a month, to places all over the world, my screen is now my window to the world. Through this virtual window, however, I encountered an enormous display of resilience. It was heartwarming to see all kinds of initiatives and creativity popping up in order to reach out and connect. Sure, we were to be in Calgary right now having our Congress during World Stage Design 21, and having to postpone World Stage Design to 22 was a great disappointment at first. It is surely asking a lot from all enthusiastic organizers to redirect energy and reschedule activities and still keep the energy flowing. Same goes for our plans for SENA, the Southern European Northern African Conference. We had to convert it into a digital version, not exactly what we intended. As for instance was having to postpone the plans for Conference by Candlelight in Sweden. And yet, I'm looking back on a period of great OISTAT activity, I dare say more than ever. Let's look at the bright side. Ever since the pandemic started, I was able to attend almost 150 digital international meetings and gatherings. that took some flexibility to integrate in my routines, but very quickly the advantages became evident. Practical ones: no loss of time because of traveling and everything that comes with it, far less trouble getting agendas aligned, quicker response to discussions that were usually saved up for a meeting a couple of weeks ahead. But what came as cherry on the pie was that many new friends got connected to OISTAT as a result of the accessibility of the events. All of a sudden, it became simple just to log in and join an OISTAT meeting. I'm impressed by all the initiatives that erupted right from the beginning of the pandemic. Amongst others, 2 times an education week. Very interesting and well attended on exchanging ways of teaching in lockdown situations. Designers on Design, a weekly meeting with a renowned designer organized by the Light Design Subcommission, but also the Friday drinks with the Sound Subcommission. Inspiring meetings from the Space Design Subcommission. In short, a fine display online, open activities from every commission, meetings, presentations, seminars, knowledge exchanges, social talk. Multiple meetings and fruitful discussions with the executive committee and the governing board kept the leadership in shape. A novelty tested by the Architecture Commission, successful elections online. We will use this experience at this very Congress. Altogether, almost too many activities to visit and certainly too many to name them all. My conclusion is OISTAT is looking back on a period bubbling with activity, welcoming many new friends who otherwise probably would not have been found. Headquarters played an important role in engaging in this new era and certainly deserves a great compliment for the rapid adjustment to the situation, answering many questions and facilitating all those online activities. Of course, OISTAT is one in the field of many who had to switch to a digital platform and are partners in the theater world who actively engaged in online meetings. I joined the online meeting of the General Assembly of ITI, the UNESCO theater organization, with which our bonds were refreshed and tightened. It was a pleasure to see all partner organizations. Also, I digitally attended several symposia in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Cyprus, Romania. I joined an African Congress listening to stories from Kenya, Ghana, Botswana. I joined presentations and discussions organized by USITT, ASUTEJ, and visited the very interesting Tbilisi Biennale online. I talked to friends and partners either by Zoom, chat, or via social media. In short, so many inspiring encounters, so many new contacts. The COVID period was not lost at all. It brought new chances and opportunities. And now we are slowly getting out of the pandemic. We cannot wait for everything to pass and get on with our life the way it was before. And to my opinion, we shouldn't. OISTAT mission lying ahead is to adjust the organization permanently to this new perspective and to consolidate this new way of working. This digital OISTAT Congress is evidence of taking firm steps into that bright future. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an effect on all of us and has affected us equally and has been the global topic for almost 2 years now. But it is not just the pandemic that urges us to reconsider. We have seen Black Lives Matter movement coming up, resulting in a worldwide challenge to look in the mirror and question ourselves, what do we stand for? What is true equality? We have witnessed and are witnessing the rapid rise of political issues all over the world, and they come with severe consequences. Animosity and polarization are being fired up. Sometimes it seems the pandemic has been used as a cover to impose changes with grave effect. Whether the impact on our private lives or on regional or national scale, we cannot deny we have entered an era of change. Although we are but theater people, we have the task to stand up in our own way. Let's pledge ourselves to work harder to include all theater friends, whoever and wherever, and to celebrate the differences. After all, it's because of diversity in its broadest sense that OISTAT exists. Let's stay together, supporting each other no matter what, and let the art be the silence engine that heals. We have a heritage to defend. Let nature be the source of inspiration. Let theater be the source of inspiration and hope and the instrument to make the world a better place. I realize these words sound hollow unless we act. Over the last period of years, this has been on the OISTAT agenda as a constant factor. Yet, as a theater organization, we can only do so much, and let's be clear, we cannot solve international, political, and diplomatic problems, if only that were true. In order to find solutions we can put to effect, we have to define exactly when and where our mission and policy are challenged, and how to proceed in such a case. Let's take a moment to look at OISTAT mission. Important goals in our mission are to stimulate the exchange of ideas and innovations, and to promote international collaborations in professions which support live performance. We serve the art form of performance and the people who design and create live performance. We respect the integrity of all cultures and celebrate the diversity as well as the similarities of those who work in support of live performance. How do we comply? Of all, we cross borders with theater art and people that work in and with theater. We do this by organizing international events, inclusive to everyone. We build bridges and cross by conflicts. We have been successful in this respect ever since we were founded. Our strength lies in finding ways to cross borders and connect. OISTAT engages in people. We stand for our members and when they are restricted in their work and art. As soon as this is in jeopardy, we will not participate and withdraw all OISTAT commitment. Therefore, if an invitation on behalf of OISTAT is issued, we cannot hold any restriction to countries, regions, or specific groups or persons. Sometimes this might call for creative solutions in order to avoid raising unnecessary and avoidable havoc. As an international NGO, we must put diplomacy to our use. I realize this is only a small step in the turmoil the world finds itself in. Nevertheless, I feel we have momentum to make a difference. Meeting online facilitates that in an easier way. We were founded to bring people together to connect and facilitate. That does not mean we lack opinion or ambition. Our way of expressing, however, lies in building bridges and the ability to cross by conflicts. This may sound like a lame argument, but actually it's the opposite. It makes it possible for us to literally keep crossing borders with theater art and bring along the people that work in and with theater. Let's pledge ourselves to work harder to include all theater friends, whoever and wherever, and to celebrate the differences. After all, it's because of diversity in its broadest sense that OISTAT exists. Let's stay together, supporting each other no matter what, and let the art be the silent engine that heals. Let theater art be the source of inspiration and hope and the instrument to make the world a better place. I mentioned it earlier. Every disadvantage holds the opportunity to be turned into an advantage. Under pressure, we adapted and shifted into a resilient mode. Now we start to pave the way to a new future. Sure, future meetings of OISTAT will no doubt happen on location, person to person, live. We're all craving for that. At the same time, we will use what we have learned over the past period to also engage digitally, thus facilitating a far larger audience of theater friends. The digital era will create new ways to reach out for new members now that physical meetings are no longer the standard. We are able to invite new members from parts of the world that are not yet very common to our organization by hosting digital meetings open to everyone. This will cause an impact on our practical organization, and although major steps have been taken on that path, this Congress being the proof of it, we still have to consolidate this and adapt this in a way of thinking and working in the organization we've had up till now. Here lies a challenging task for the new leadership of OISTAT. During the upcoming Congress, elections will take place. Delegates can execute their democratic right to vote for the, I must say, excellent candidates. It's up to the new president and the members of the EC to further shape the future of OISTAT in close collaboration with the governing board. There are interesting challenges lying ahead for our organization on coping with membership in relation to the new ways of reaching out. and the obvious shift from working commission-based as opposed to project-based. I look forward to the feedback on such topic in the coming days. We try to compose an interesting online World Congress, showing highlights of OISTAT events and creating new ones with what we hope to be a very diverse and interesting program with stimulating topics like shaping the future NGOs in the arts, previews of world stage design next year in Calgary, and eco-sonography, just to name a few. We try to set up a schedule that will allow people to join as much activities as they like, with the possibility to hop between the events so as to get a true taste of the OISTAT atmosphere. I, for one, will be present at most of the activities and hope to meet you all there in good OISTAT spirit. All of us, Executive Committee, Governing Board and Headquarters, are anxious to see if what we have worked hard for will prove to be successful in the coming days. Your attendance, involvement, contributions, and hopefully positive experiences will be the reward for all the hard work your OISTAT colleagues have put into it. After all, OISTAT is about people and you being part of it. So, a warm welcome to all of you. Feel free to join in at as many possible events. Let's reconnect. Thank you so much.
OISTAT is such an incredible umbrella and a sort of roving umbrella.
Under the umbrella, there's room for designers, there's room for technicians, there's room for educators, all of whom are working in live performance.
Through theater, through design, we can see the culture of other people, of other countries. With OISTAT, we can celebrate the fact that we are different.
最早那个核心是交流。那我觉得过去48年来，这个核心从来都没有变过。And then the question is, 你要怎么交流 The headquarters of OISTAT was in Prague, Czechoslovakia from 1968 to 1993. In 1993, the headquarters migrated to Amsterdam. In 2006, the headquarters moved to Taipei, Taiwan. The transition strengthened OISTAT's connection with Asian countries. We have 4 international projects. World Stage Design. It is an international exhibition open for individual designers. It celebrates the very best in global performance design. Cinefest is a festival that celebrates scenography with lectures, workshops, performances, and master classes. Technical Invention Prize is the only global award for theater technicians. It calls for simple and smart solutions for theater works. Theater Architecture Competition. It's an idea competition. It invites architects to push the boundaries of theater architecture.
I remember in my beginning in OISTAT, we didn't have internet. We wrote letters by mail or the fast way by fax. It's about the willing to communicate.
I very much believe in the world community of theater. I believe very much in the process of sharing and learning from practitioners around the world.
One of the many highlights must be the Wood and Canvas Conference. It was a conference about the use and reuse of old theater technology.
And it was an extraordinary meeting because there was the most wonderful collection of theatre architects, historians, engineers I've ever seen together in one place.
OISTAT helps bring all of us together into a room to have a conversation. You meet somebody, an opportunity happens.
2013年，空的记忆在英国的 WSD 得到了互动与新媒体的大奖。在庆功宴上面认识了一个丹麦的艺术中心的总监 Mikael。从此，我们开始发展了一个2年台北跟丹麦的驻地计划。没有 OISTAT， 没有这个机会，或许就不会有光年骑士这个作品。
The other really important thing that OISTAT does through these exhibitions is raise the profile of design. If the public understands that part of their experience attending the theater, the dance, the opera, If they understand the integral role the designer plays in their experience, then that raises the value of what we do. Without OISTAT, who else would organize these things?
In an international organization that involves more than 15 countries, if you feel everything runs smoothly, that means there's a hard-working team behind it. We are the team.
Especially at the moment when there's a lot of America and the UK particularly and other countries are becoming very inward-looking. I think artists can break these borders.
Despite the political issues in countries, theater remains the same.
即使每个国家有它的传统的表演艺术、传统的表演的方式，但是对于我们技术剧场的工作人员跟他的工作来讲，其实没有任何分别。
If you care about something, if you have a passion, then OISTAT is a very good place to find other people who care.
I am Karin Winkels as an editor of the Stage
I'm a scenographer and professor of costumes.
Production manager from Belgium.
I'm a member of Architecture Commission.